Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Today's video is a thrift flip and kind of DIY video. These are all like vintage, spring inspired projects. So we're gonna hop right into these projects. For the first project, we're going to be giving these vintage cream cheese boxes a little bit of an upcycle. So I got these, I believe, at an estate sale a long time ago. I've had them in my booth for several months. I also brought them to the Junkin' Pumpkin back in October, and they never sold. So I pulled them from my booth and I'm going to give them a little bit of a makeover. So the only thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take these spindle pieces that you just saw, and I'm also going to take these wood rounds that I got from the craft store, and I'm going to put them on the bottom of them to give them feet to make little risers. So I've had these spindle pieces for a really long time, and unfortunately I only had 7 of them. I was really hoping that I could just do both of these spindle pieces as feet for both of them because I love how they turned out, but it just didn't work out. So I'm going to be adhering the feet with Titebond wood glue. It's like the quick and thick, and it does dry clear, so there is a little bit of of the glue that does come out. I'm going to wipe off as much as I can, but it will dry down clear. And for this box, that is it. I love the vintage look of the spindles mixed with the vintage boxes, so I'm setting that one aside. For these feet, I am going to paint them black. I'm just using Waverly's black chalk paint. I believe it's the ink color. And then I'm going to dry them, and I'm going to wet distress them back. I'm just going to use a damp paper towel, and I'm going to, basically rub off as much of the chalk paint as I want to get that desired aged, worn look. And then once I'm happy with that, I am going to put the Titebond on them just like I did with the others and set them aside for several hours so that they dry. So I left them up like this to dry about 20 minutes. I flipped them over and then I added weight to them. I love how this little upcycle totally transformed these cheese boxes. I think that they make the cutest little boxes or risers for a vignette. And in the second image here, you will see how I styled one of them. They're perfect for a little bit of greenery and something small that you want to add to it. And you could even use them in a bathroom if you have like mason jars, if you wanted to put, Q-tips or cotton balls. Just possibilities are endless with these. So we're gonna hop into this next project, which is this metal tin that I grabbed from an estate sale a while ago as well. If you remember, I did a little bit of an upcycle with this for Christmas time, and it never sold. So I wanted to do something else with this piece, and I decided that I was going to paint the lid and add a transfer to it. So I'm going to be using this Weeping Willow green color from Dixie Belle. I'm going to do 2 coats on the top here. I'm going to set that aside while I work on the rest of it. For the transfers, I'm using the IOD traditional pot transfer. I've never used this one before. I was really excited to give it a shot. A friend of mine who has a booth space down at Twin Rivers Local Vintage where my booth is, they do sell IOD products, and I will have her link in the description in case you do not have anyone around you that you can order from as well. So I am going to be using one of these that is the black transfer. I was torn if I was going to use the blue one or not, but if I had used the blue transfer, I would have probably painted the lid a different color. So that's why I ended up going with this color instead. And if you haven't used transfers before, this one was super easy. It did take a little bit of elbow grease, but it was still very easy to apply. It took me a second to make sure that it was straight and centered, and then I'm going to be using the burnishing tool to rub all across on the transfer, and then I'm going to lift a corner of the transfer up as I am, you know, continuing to burnish. As you can see, I lift a little bit, I burnish, I lift a little bit, and then I burnish some more. And if there's an area that doesn't, you know, adhere to your surface, you can always lay the transfer back down and burnish some more. And then just take that transfer piece that you have, rub it all over to make sure everything is smooth. And then I did just want to note here that after I distressed this lid, I took the lid and I took the metal tin outside, and I did do a couple light coats of Rust-Oleum clear coat so that the chalk paint was sealed, as well as the transfer. I didn't want to use like a polyacrylic or anything because it was going to be, I felt too shiny and I wanted to have that matte look. So the matte spray worked perfect, and I really hope you guys like this one. I think this one looks totally transformed, and this one is one of my favorites. I really like this traditional pots transfer. I'm not big on using these types of transfers, like the style, but I'm really enjoying how this one turned out. For our next thrift flip, we're going to be giving this wood tissue box a huge makeover. This is actually my favorite. This has to be probably my favorite that I have done in a while. I got this from, I believe, the thrift store, again, a really long time ago. It has sat in my stash of items to make over for probably at least 6 months. I had some ideas, and then when I would take it out, it just didn't happen. So I would always put it back. So what I did was I took the tissue box outside. I gave the entire tissue box a good scuff sand. I made sure that you know, hand painted or transfer, I'm not sure what it was, that image was as smooth as possible. And then I'm giving this tissue box a good thick coat of this Antebellum Blue by Dixie Belle. I did use this on a previous thrift flip, and I love how that one turned out, so I really wanted to try this blue again, and it did not disappoint. It dried so, like, this, such a beautiful color. I did take it outside and distress it, so it had a little bit of that, you know, old look to it, and it did dull down that blue just a smidge, but I actually still really like how that looked. So at first I was going to decoupage something onto one side, and then I decided to do another one of these transfers with the traditional pots, and I went back and forth on if I was going to use the white one or a black transfer like I did in the previous project. I decided to do the white one because I thought it would pop, and it did. Oh my gosh, I love this one so much. So again, I'm doing the same thing as I did before, where I'm going to be applying, you know, the burnishing tool and then lifting it up with one finger as I move along. And I did just want to say that if you didn't see my post on the community tab last week, I think it was last week, I have finally, after several years, I have finally started posting items back to my Etsy page, Wood, Wine, and Crafts. I will have the link in the description of this video in case you are interested. So all of these items, as well as items that I recently thrifted over the weekend, will also be up there. I just wanted to point that one out, and I'll talk about that one later as well. So once that transfer was dry, I brought it outside, and I'm using the matte clear, which is the same thing I used on the other piece. And I did, I believe, 3 light coats of the clear matte spray. And like I said, I just love how this piece turned out. I know it's a tissue box, but it could also be used as something else. My friend had suggested you could even put like the floral foam on the inside and add some greenery to the part coming, you know, the hole for where the tissues would go, which I thought was a great idea. So this last project, I'm just throwing in. I had this little rolling pin. I used it as a display piece in the very first thrift flip that I just showed, and I wanted to add this one in here. So this rolling pin, I'm doing the exact same thing that I did in my last video with the larger rolling pin, where I paint green, the handles green. I'm going to apply the antique wax to the rolling part of the pin, so to create that, you know, stained effect. And then I'm going to roll on a stamp onto the middle portion, and then that is it. I will link that video as well if you are interested to see the larger rolling pin, as well as the other projects if you didn't get to see that. So this is it, the kindest regards stamp. I couldn't remember it until I saw it on screen here. I really hope that you all enjoyed this video, and please let me know your favorite in the comments. I just wanted to quickly touch on my comment earlier about my Etsy page. I do have these items currently up on the page, but I will be going down to my booth on Sunday, so a bunch of those items are going to go down there with me. So if you are interested in anything, I really just wanted to make it available. I always get comments, you know, that, you know, they wish that they were closer to my booth, or, you know, things like that. So I really want to make these available on my Etsy page, and then if they don't sell by the time I go down to my booth, I will bring them down there. So if you are interested, then definitely give it a check, because I will be going down on Sunday. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. Have a great week, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.